Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the 12 motorcycles that mechanics personally recommend. Number 12, Yamaha V Star 250. The Yamaha V Star 250 is a lightweight cruiser that's been quietly earning respect in workshops across the country. It's often brought up by mechanics who work on bikes all day and know what actually holds up over time. The V Star 250 runs on a 250cc air-cooled V-twin engine, which is pretty rare in its class. Most small bikes stick to a single-cylinder setup, but this V-twin gives smoother power delivery and runs cooler. It's easy to maintain, doesn't demand much from the owner, and parts are widely available. For a beginner or anyone looking for a reliable second bike, this one just works without surprises. With regular maintenance, it's not unusual for these bikes to last over 50,000 miles, and many make it past 60 with no engine rebuilds. The price is another thing that makes this bike attractive. Even brand new, it lands under $5,000, and used ones in good condition often go for $3 to $4 grand. That's a solid deal when you consider the low cost of upkeep, insurance, and gas. It's also light, weighing just over 300 pounds, so it's easy to handle even for shorter or older riders. Mechanics recommend the V Star 250 because it stays out of the shop. It doesn't burn oil, doesn't overheat, and doesn't come with electrical problems like some of the newer tech-heavy bikes. If you want a motorcycle that quietly does its job for years and doesn't rack up repair bills, the Yamaha V Star 250 checks every box. Number 11, Honda CB500X. The Honda CB500X is one of those bikes mechanics don't mind seeing, mostly because it hardly ever shows up for anything serious. It's built with a balance that works well for both daily commuting and longer rides, and it holds up impressively over time. At the core is a 471cc parallel twin engine. It's smooth, reliable, and not overly stressed, which helps it last. Mechanics say these engines regularly hit 70,000 miles or more with just basic oil changes, valve checks, and chain maintenance. The fueling is crisp, the cooling system is steady, and it rarely develops electrical issues. This is one of the reasons shops will often tell newer riders or returning ones to seriously consider the CB500X. It's dependable and forgiving. The cost is fair too. Brand new, the CB500X sits just under $8,000. For that, you get a bike that punches above its price point in terms of build quality. It sips gas lightly, often pushing over 60 miles per gallon, so long-term costs stay low. Tires and brake pads last long on this bike because it's not heavy and doesn't put too much stress on them. Mechanics often talk about how little this bike asks from its owner. It doesn't have complicated electronics that can fail, and it's built with typical Honda tight tolerances and finish. For anyone looking for something practical, capable, and built to last with minimal upkeep, the Honda CB500X stands out. Number 10, Triumph Street Twin. The Triumph Street Twin is a classic-looking modern bike that earns quiet respect from seasoned mechanics. It blends old-school styling with proven engineering, and that's exactly why it gets recommended in workshops across the country. It runs on a 900cc parallel twin engine with plenty of torque down low, which means the bike doesn't need to be pushed hard to perform well. This relaxed power delivery, combined with Triumph's focus on durability, leads to solid long-term results. Mechanics often see street twins still running smooth after 60 to 70,000 miles with just routine care, oil filters, valve checks, and tire changes. New, the street twin costs just under $10,000. But that price brings real value: solid frame, quality suspension, and brakes that don't cut corners. Even better, used ones from recent years often sit in the $6 to $8 grand range. For what you get, that's a deal. It's also a simple bike to work on. Mechanics don't have to dig through a maze of sensors or software to diagnose issues, and parts are widely available across the US. What keeps the Street Twin high on the list is its consistency. It doesn't develop quirks or annoying rattles after a few years, and it's rare for owners to report engine trouble. If you're looking for a motorcycle that combines style with a real track record of lasting performance, the Triumph Street Twin is hard to beat. Number 9, Kawasaki Versys 650. The Kawasaki Versys 650 is one of the most quietly dependable bikes you'll find in any workshop. It's the kind of motorcycle that mechanics mention with a nod because it rarely shows up for anything beyond regular service. Built for real-world use, it holds up to both long miles and everyday abuse without complaint. It's powered by a 649cc parallel twin engine that Kawasaki has used for years in different models, and for good reason. This engine is tough. It's liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and designed to run smooth for the long haul. With proper maintenance, it's common for these bikes to push past 70,000 miles, and some have even crossed the 80 mark without needing major engine work. The layout is simple, and the components are well spaced, so when service is needed it doesn't cost a fortune. New, the Versys 650 comes in just under $9,000. For that price, you're getting a rock-solid machine with upright ergonomics, a comfortable ride, and suspension that handles rough roads better than most street bikes. Mechanics appreciate this bike because it doesn't give them problems. The wiring holds up, the electronics don't glitch out, and the engine internals age gracefully if the basics are followed. The Versys 650 doesn't pretend to be something it's not. It's a purpose-built, dependable machine that just keeps rolling. If your goal is a bike that stays out of the garage and keeps the costs low, this one gets the nod. Number 8. Royal Enfield Classic 350. The Royal Enfield Classic 350 has come a long way, and mechanics in the US have started to take it seriously for one main reason: it's built better than many expected. This new generation model fixed a lot of the old issues while keeping the styling that made it popular in the first place. At its core is a 349cc single-cylinder engine, air and oil-cooled, with fuel injection and a simple layout. Not fast, but it's smooth and doesn't vibrate like the older models used to. What matters more is that the engine's tuned to last. With steady oil changes and routine checks, many of these bikes are now crossing 30 to 40,000 miles with little fuss. Mechanics say the new J-platform engine is a major step up in reliability, and it shows in the shop. New, the Classic 350 runs under $5,000, which is rare for a brand new motorcycle in the US with this level of. You'll often find used ones going for around $4,000, sometimes less. Parts are cheap, and labor hours are low because the bike is simple to work on. Maintenance intervals are predictable and not expensive. This bike doesn't rely on fancy tech or electronics. That's part of why it's so reliable. Mechanics appreciate machines like this. No guesswork, no complex systems to debug, just straightforward parts that can be replaced easily if needed. If you want something with retro charm that also earns a mechanic's approval, the Classic 350 fits the bill. Number 7. Honda Shadow 750. The Honda Shadow 750 has built a solid reputation over decades, and mechanics often bring it up when asked about bikes that rarely cause trouble. It's one of those cruisers that just keeps showing up on the road year after year because it holds up. This bike runs on a 745cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine that Honda has refined over time. It's not overpowered, and that's a good thing. The engine is understressed, which means longer life. With regular oil changes and basic care, many of these Shadows are still running strong at 70,000 miles and beyond. It's not unusual for shops to see them come in for new tires or chain replacements long before they need any real engine work. Price-wise, the Shadow 750 has always been a value. Newer used models usually land in the $3,000 to $5,000 range depending on condition and mileage. That's a solid price for a cruiser that has a known track record for durability and easy maintenance. Mechanics like working on these because they're straightforward. No surprises, no weird parts, and no hard-to-reach components. This bike doesn't demand much from its owner. Keep up with oil, coolant, and brake fluid changes, and it'll pay you back with years of hassle-free riding. It's a perfect fit for riders who want something that works every time without extra upkeep or expensive repairs. If you're after a cruiser that doesn't let you down and has a long shelf life in the hands of mechanics who know their machines, the Honda Shadow 750 is a smart pick. Number 6. Yamaha Bolt. The Yamaha Bolt is a stripped-down cruiser that focuses on the basics, and that's exactly why mechanics like it. There's no overcomplicated tech, no unnecessary features. It's a clean design built around reliability and ease of ownership. The heart of the Bolt is a 941cc air-cooled V-twin engine that's known for its long life. It delivers torque smoothly and doesn't require high revs to get the job done. Because it's air-cooled, there are fewer moving parts and no radiator or coolant system to worry about, which means less can go wrong. Shops often report seeing Bolts with 50 to 60,000 miles that still run strong with no major issues. Routine oil changes, belt checks, and valve adjustments are about all it needs to stay in good shape. The Bolt's price sits just under $9,000 when new. On the used market, models in good shape often land between $5,000 and $7,000 depending on year and mileage. It's a belt drive bike, which cuts down on maintenance compared to chains. Tires, brakes, and other wear items hold up well due to the bike's moderate power and weight. Mechanics like the Bolt because it doesn't fight them. The frame design makes components easy to access, and Yamaha's build quality keeps things tight and solid. Electrical issues are rare, and owners usually bring them in for upgrades rather than repairs. If you're after a no-nonsense cruiser that delivers thousands of miles with low maintenance and a strong track record in the shop, the Yamaha Bolt is a solid choice. Number 5. Honda Gold Wing. The Honda Gold Wing is the bike that mechanics mention with a different tone, part respect, part relief, because while it's a complex machine, it rarely breaks. It's one of the longest-lasting motorcycles on the road, and riders often rack up mileage you'd expect from a car. At the center is an 1800cc flat-six engine. It's liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and built with touring in mind, not speed. That's why you'll often find Gold Wings with over 100,000 miles still running without a rebuild. Some push past 200,000. Mechanics point out that major repairs on Gold Wings are rare, and the majority of service calls are for tires, fluids, or brakes, not engine failure. A new Gold Wing costs around $24,000, which sounds like a lot until you realize how long it lasts and how little trouble it gives. Maintenance is more involved than a basic cruiser, but it's worth it. Valve checks, timing belts, and fluid flushes are key to long life, but they don't come often, and when done right, they stretch the bike's lifespan way out. Mechanics respect the Gold Wing because it's not a headache. Its electrical system is well managed, the electronics rarely fail, and the build quality is in another league. If your goal is to buy once and ride for decades, the Honda Gold Wing is one of the few motorcycles that truly delivers on that. Number 4. Kawasaki Vulcan S. The Kawasaki Vulcan S is a middleweight cruiser that's become a mechanic's favorite for one big reason: it's built with zero nonsense. Simple design, proven parts, and a strong reliability record make it one of the bikes that rarely comes back with problems. It runs on a 649cc parallel twin engine, the same powerplant found in the Versys and Ninja 650. That engine has already proven itself over hundreds of thousands of bikes worldwide. It's liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and doesn't stress itself even on longer rides. With routine service, this engine can easily hit 60 to 70,000 miles without needing anything more than standard care, oil, filters, chain maintenance, and valve checks every 15,000 miles. New, the Vulcan S sits just under $8,000. Used ones are everywhere and usually priced around $5,000 to $6,000 depending on year and mileage. Mechanics like how open the engine bay is, everything is easy to reach, which means lower labor costs and fewer headaches. This bike was also designed to be user-friendly. Its ErgoFit system lets you adjust the seat, pegs, and bars to suit your height and comfort, which means riders are less likely to wear the bike out through awkward posture or misuse. For someone looking for a cruiser that's modern, reliable, and backed by a track record in the garage, the Kawasaki Vulcan S makes a smart pick. Number 3. Yamaha MT7. The Yamaha MT7 is one of those bikes that mechanics consistently recommend, not because it's perfect, but because it stays solid where it counts. It's quick, light, and fun, but underneath all that, it's built with reliability in mind. At the center is a 689cc parallel twin engine, also known as the CP2. This engine is a standout in Yamaha's lineup. It delivers strong torque from low RPMs and runs with a smooth, even feel. Mechanics praise it for being durable and low maintenance. With regular oil changes and valve checks every 24,000 miles, these engines often keep running well past 70,000 miles. Brand new, the MT7 lands around $8,000. On the used market, you'll find well-maintained models for 5 to 7 grand depending on condition. What helps keep costs down is how easy it is to work on. The frame is open and simple, which means most maintenance jobs can be done without tearing the whole bike apart. The electronics are basic, no ride modes, no traction control, which some riders complain about, but shops see it as a plus. Fewer systems mean fewer failure points. The ABS works fine, the dash is easy to read, and most of the parts are shared with other Yamaha bikes, so replacements are easy to find and reasonably priced. If you want a motorcycle that keeps riding long after others start aging out, the Yamaha MT7 is a solid call. Number 2. Honda Rebel 500. The Honda Rebel 500 is one of the easiest bikes to own, and mechanics often say it's the one they rarely see for engine trouble. It's built with beginner and intermediate riders in mind, but the quality of its parts and simplicity of design make it a smart long-term pick. It uses a 471cc parallel twin engine, the same one found in the CB500 lineup. This engine is known in the shop world for being incredibly reliable. It's liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and operates under low stress, which helps extend its life well past 60,000 miles. In fact, some Rebels have crossed the 70,000 mark with little more than oil changes, valve checks every 16,000 miles, and basic chain care. Shops praise it for how rarely anything major goes wrong. The Rebel 500 costs just under $7,000 brand new. It's one of the few modern cruisers at that price point with this level of durability. The cost of ownership stays low, tires last long due to the bike's light weight, fuel economy is over 60 miles per gallon, and parts are easy to get across the US. What mechanics like most is how simple the bike is to work on. No extra sensors, no touchy electronics, and the frame layout allows quick access to everything that matters. It's also belt-free, using a standard chain, which makes service straightforward and affordable. If you want a cruiser that's light, reliable, and backed by years of proven engineering, the Honda Rebel 500 is a smart and practical option. Number 1. Suzuki SV650. The Suzuki SV650 has earned its reputation the hard way by consistently outlasting bikes with bigger names and higher price tags. Mechanics across the US know it well, and many will tell you straight up, this is one of the most bulletproof middleweight bikes ever made. It's powered by a 645cc V-twin engine that's been in production in one form or another for over 2 decades. This engine is the definition of proven. It's liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and puts out smooth, usable power across the rev range. With regular oil changes and valve checks every 15,000 miles, it's common to see SVs still running strong at 80,000 miles and some even beyond that. This motor doesn't get overstressed and rarely suffers from internal wear issues, which is exactly why mechanics trust it. The price of a brand new SV650 sits around $7,500. On the used market, you'll regularly find solid models for 4 to 6 grand, depending on condition and year. It's one of those bikes where the used versions are still great buys because they age well and don't need much to stay sharp. Mechanics appreciate the SV for its no-drama maintenance. It's not packed with tech that'll glitch out in 5 years. If you want a bike that balances fun with longevity, and one that mechanics repeatedly put their faith in, the Suzuki SV650 is a clear standout. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.